Well, welcome to another conversation in Knowing You Being You, a series of conversations with change makers who know that all change, no matter how big or small, starts with you. And today I am really pleased to have Millen Livis with us. And Millen is a wealth architect and a financial empowerment mentor. And I need to get my piece of paper so I get it absolutely right. She is also an investor and an entrepreneur, as well as a best-selling author. So she has got a wealth of experience to share with us. And she has developed a number of her own systems to help people build their wealth mentality, as well as their financial know-how, so that they know how to invest. So she's developed a huge skill set. And I've known Millen for a while, and I've loved talking to her because of her incredibly grounded understanding of money and where she's come from. So welcome, Millen.
Thank you so much for having me, Paul. It's such a pleasure always to chat with you, and especially now that a lot of your followers will listen and watch this conversation. It's always fun. Thank you so much for having me.
So what I'd love for you to do is just tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to where you are now, because I know it's not a straightforward journey.
Well, I don't know a lot of people who have straightforward journey.
True.
Well, so my journey started in another country, in Lithuania. I came to the United States almost 30 years ago, and when I came, I didn't speak English. Even though I was well educated, I had master's degree in physics at this time, I couldn't find a job, professional job, because when you don't speak the language of the country, it's not easy. So I started as a florist assistant, and minimum wage job, and was very grateful because I was able to support my family. And from there, within 1 year, I self-taught English, and my first professional job was being a consultant for one of the biggest brokerage companies in the United States, Merrill Lynch. And from there, I kind of climbed the ladder of corporate America, and I worked for biggest Wall Street companies like Morgan Stanley and Deutsche Bank and Dean Witter and American Express, etc., etc. So at some point, I kind of got to the level where everybody else was saying, you're so lucky, you're so successful. Yeah, I had a beautiful home, beautiful house in the suburbs, very high level salary, and family. It seemed like everything was just picture perfect. I was living my American dream. It took me about probably 5 years to get there. And then I started feeling some kind of discomfort. I was like, I want to do something else. I can do more, I can be more, etc. So without really drilling what drives me, without really connecting to my true self, I decided that, I want to go to the best business school in the country, and, I will be certifiably smart and whatever. So I applied because I wasn't sure if I would be accepted. I applied to 5 top business schools in the country, and I was accepted to all 5. So I chose the most prestigious one, Wharton Business School, went to this school, very expensive, graduated, got my certificate that I'm really smart. And I had this golden degree, and I didn't know what to do with this because I didn't want to go back and do what I used to do, which everybody else expected me. I wanted something else. I wanted something more exciting, more meaningful. And it just didn't happen. So officially I was jobless. And almost at the same time, as it usually happens in life, my marriage fell apart. And I started my new business, my investment business, got business partners, seemed to be like everything was, going well. And then the market crash happened. My business partners started asking money back because we invested together in some properties, and I was the responsible party, so to speak. And I became really devastated financially. I got, from all this stress, I got into a car accident. So my health, injured neck, my health was in a very bad shape. And I was living alone in a tiny apartment near New York City, really, really stressed out, and frankly, in a dark place in my life, to the point that I didn't feel that it was any reason for me to go on, except for my daughter, who was in college at this time. And I was always very driven, very ambitious person, and suddenly things just stopped. Like I lost my identity, because my identity was this successful, ambitious woman who, has a great family, who has a great job, who has this and that. And suddenly all this she has disappeared. And I really lost the sense of worth, which I never questioned before. So as a result of this, I felt like I'm such a failure. Like, I would avoid going to my college reunion, because I felt like, failure was written on my forehead. That's how bad I felt about, myself, about my life. And the long story short, I met a coach who basically brought my attention to mindfulness. He said, your inner game will define your outer game. You absolutely can have amazing life, but you have to learn how to play your inner game. And at this time, honestly, I didn't even know what the inner game was. Yeah. Because I was good at investing in the stock market. I finally learned how to invest in real estate, because that was something that I wanted to do. When he started talking about inner game, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And that became my turning point. I called all this crisis, I call it now divine crisis, because it felt like crisis to me. Yeah. But in a way, it helped me to awaken to something bigger than myself, to something that we all have access to, that the amazing energy that we are, the amazing beings that we are, and the potential that we all have. So that's kind of became my awakening experience, and I decided to become a yoga instructor, meditation instructor. So I went from studying business and physics and science, going to on a different scale, became really rooted in spirituality. And from all these experiences, and by the way, eventually my business picked up, and my partners started asking me if they could be my partners again, etc. So, the end story was a success. But what is more important for people who watch us today to know that sometimes our hardest and most challenging experiences become our best credentials for helping others. And for me, this experience brought me to developing what I call now the Millen-aire Method. And this Millen-aire Method has 4 dimensions that help people to create and build lasting wealth. Because that's what happened to me. I became financially independent using this exact method. And only because I had to go through all these challenging times and phases, I was aware, I was able to realize that it's very important to have a wealth mindset. Very, very important. It's also very important to be, on a practical aspect, to be a good savvy, to be a savvy money manager, right? You really need to know how to manage your money well, and not feel that, it's out of control and feel overwhelmed and anxious all the time, which I used to be. I used to be very, very rigged by money anxiety, and, the situation that I was in. And then 2 other dimensions, would it be okay?
Yeah.
It's important, I think, also to learn how to invest strategically, because when I started investing, oh my God, I had no idea what I was doing. I just wanted to invest. And, I had to study with the best investors in the country to learn how to invest strategically, because I outsourced my money to my savings to investment firm, and they lost it, and I was paying them fee for losing my money. And I said, you know what, let me just see what I can learn myself, so I will be in my power. And then the last dimension obviously is our ability to have spiritual connection to the source and leveraging the universe. So that's 4 dimensions. I'm sorry, I just went from
No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. No, it's fascinating. I was just sort of ruminating on your journey and the pivotal points that you said, and it's interesting, that thing of of the importance of knowing your stuff, but also believing that that it's possible. And that was something that's come up in another interview, which is why it's sort of like ping, ping, ping. It was making the connections. So I was just fascinated by that journey that you've been on, and to understanding all the layers that come into that. And the wealth mindset, of course, is massive for women.
Can I just mention something? Because I think, I like to be real. I like to be, I never refer to myself as guru. Sometimes when I have interview, they said, we have a guru, Millen Livis. I was like, I'm not a guru.
Yeah.
I'm just a guide on the side who happened to travel the terrain that a lot of people may be going through right now. So what I wanted to say, that it was not always the case with me that I was believing in myself. I know it's important. I know it's very, very important to have self-worth and believe that you can do it. But you know what? My goal, my dream, my vision was I wanted to be financially independent, so I could have a work that I wanted to do. I could help other people, etc. But I did not believe that it was possible for me. And you know what I did? I led with action. So sometimes our beliefs need to catch up with acting. It's not always like, I believe in myself and then I will act. Sometimes we have to take risk and act even before we fully believe that we can do that. And that's what I did. I made a lot of mistakes, but you know what? I was not stagnant. I was, moving toward. And, sometimes it was zigging and zagging, a lot of zigging and zagging, as a matter of fact. But I was not waiting, I was doing what I had to do. I was working on my mindset. I was working on my ability to connect to my higher self. But at the same time, I was taking some practical steps as well. So I just wanted to make sure
no, and I think that's such an important point, is that I don't know, maybe I think about mindset to include action, perhaps. Maybe that's how I think about it. But I think you're absolutely right. It's having those two components of taking action. And what I think is so important about the work that you do, is that it gives people that confidence to take action, even if the mindset's not there. So it is a really important part of the journey, but at the same time, it's having that confidence that you know what you're doing, which means that you are more likely to take a risk towards what it is that you want to do, you want to create for your life.
Exactly. Very well said. Sometimes we need to have competence to increase our confidence, and and vice versa. So they're very, very connected, and that's what I try to help my clients with, because that's my passion, and that's my mission. I can say that I finally found, after all this, like I said, zigging and zagging, and taking this course and going to this business school and paying hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I finally found what my purpose on this planet is. And it's so liberating and so inspiring, really, when you feel the conviction that that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm doing now.
That's beautifully put. That's so beautifully put. That thing of when you finally connect into what it is that you're here to do, and you put together all the pieces that have come before, and you realize where they've led you and what they've given you, and it's just like yeah, now I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. And that fulfillment that comes from that is just huge, isn't it?
Especially when, you know, the journey, like I experienced so many contrasts, you
Yeah.
know, and for many people too, finding your purpose is a journey. And it could be quite frustrating when you do something and, you know, you think that you want to do it, but your why is not strong enough to carry you over the challenges, the ups and downs of the journey. And you know, you really need to be so convinced that you want to do that, to be able to weather the storms, which we all have. And sometimes, like I said, I wasn't always convinced. I started with writing books, and I felt like I was pregnant with this information, and I was like, at this time I didn't know that there is this industry like coaching and mentoring. So I was like, I have to get it out. What can I do? So I wrote one book, a shift toward purpose, where I shared my journey from, you know, transition from corporate America to being an entrepreneur. And then, you know, all this financial stuff, because I was meeting so many people who were, especially women, who suffered, you know, maybe from after the divorce, after losing job or business. And I said, I have to write this book. So I wrote the book, A Shift Toward Abundance, Secrets to Financial Freedom. And then when I finished the books, I was like, okay, so what now? Because people read books, but they don't act.
Yeah.
And that's how the things, like, you know, evolved for me into becoming a coach and a mentor for women who want to become financially empowered. So in life, sometimes, you know, we don't necessarily see the end of the journey, right? So it's important to take the first step, and then the next and the next, and then things will open up. So that's what happened to me.
So tell me, because I think financial empowerment, I'm just curious what's it, I mean, I think you've touched on it, but there's so many different coaches out there dealing with money, you know, money mindset and all sorts of things like that. But financial empowerment is a very different concept to what I see in the streams that I move in. I was going to say mainstream, but I mean the streams that I move in. So what does financial empowerment mean to you in terms of what it means for someone's life?
You see, the way I see money is it's like a back door to your self-image, to your self-concept. It's so much more than just money, because we usually, when we say, I want to have more money, what we usually mean is that we want to have certain experiences. We want to have experience of freedom. We want to have experience of being important, being significant, you know, maybe helping our loved ones, etc. So money for me is a backdoor to self-concept, to elevating your self-image and be in your power. Be in your power, not only in terms of having more money and being financially independent and confident, because you know what, it's hard, this famous expression, it's hard to be the light of the world when you cannot pay for your light bill, right? So I'm very practical in terms of when I coach people. My coaching includes some practical skills, money management and investing and stocks and real estate, but I also pay very important attention when I work with people to their sense of self-worth and sense of self-concept. Because if you have this big vision that you know, maybe you want to create amazing company, or you want to I don't know, become very wealthy or whatever, you have this big vision, but your self-concept is so small that there is a mismatch between the way you see yourself, the way you perceive your abilities and your potential, and the big vision. Then it will collapse your energy to the point that you will feel not worthy, and it just, this mismatch will not allow you to be truly moving toward this vision, because you will constantly sabotage and criticize and be overwhelmed by doubts and shame and comparisons and stuff like that. So it's very important to really have such a big dose of self-love and self-respect, and work on your what I call patterns, right? We all have patterns of how we process certain events, because people have experiences in the past. Maybe they lost a lot of money, maybe they lended money to someone and they didn't get money back, and they make certain stories from these experiences that are discouraging. So, or like I shared with you example, when I wanted to I hired the investment company to manage my money, and they were charging me, I think it was 1% of the portfolio, or even more, and they were losing, and I was like, but what can I do? I don't know how to do it myself. They are professionals, they know better. Until I said, you know what, if they know better, then I will wait till the end of my life until they lose everything, because I have to trust myself. I had to relearn how to trust myself, how to see that, you know what, I can learn enough to be in an equal conversation with these people and tell them. That's what I do now. I have financial advisor, but I'm telling him, I want to buy these annuities, but not these annuities. I know what questions to ask. That's what I call financial empowerment. You either do it yourself, which I do a lot of things myself now because I learned how, and it just happened to be that I do it better. I'm better at managing my money than other people, which is often the case. But even when I ask for help, whether it's my attorney, my accountant, or my investment advisor who I have, because I cannot buy all the financial products myself. But the way I talk to them, I see that they cannot push me something that just because they have high commission on this product, because I will question them. Why you think this? So when you come from the position of self-confidence and competence and power and assertiveness, people treat you differently. And that's what I want to help, especially women who sometimes feel that they have to be in a relationship that is not working just because they cannot support themselves. They cannot be without this person in their lives, or they stuck in a job that drains their energy just because they're afraid that they cannot find either another job that would be more fulfilling or start their own business. So yeah, I don't know, did I answer your question about
no, you answered it beautifully. As though that's exactly, I wanted people to experience that energy that you have, that passion that you have about what money can do for people, because particularly for women entrepreneurs, and particularly when you're doing something that you're passionate about, there's all sorts of beliefs that we have, which are, a lot of them are cultural, that actually get in our way. So there is the self-confidence, there is the self-worth, but there's also, as you referenced, it's like they're professionals, they know better, and having that confidence to challenge or to step into your power and say, this is mine and therefore I have a say in it, is actually, I don't think I can overstate how big a step that is for some women.
It's huge. It's huge. And I remember the phrase that I said to myself, because I was scared. I was scared to take over the control of it was my retirement plan, which I eventually designed myself. And I was scared to say, stop the bleeding. I don't want to work with you anymore. And I was saying to myself, you know what? I can lose my money and not pay for that, right? At least I will not have to pay to someone for losing it. So I will take a chance on me. That's what I did. I took a chance on me. And I think it's a big concept for a lot of women who feel that someone else can save them, someone else can do it better for them. And it all comes from this lack of confidence. And, you know, confidence is huge. And it's also sexy. You know, I think that women who are confident are very sexy. It's so something about this energy of this, you know, I know who I am and I love myself. And, you know, and when you love yourself, you have ability to give and to love others. Because usually people who don't love themselves, they lack ability to respect others or love others, right? So it's this beautiful ability to shine, to emit what you have inside, because we can never have on the external what we don't have inside. So that's why it's so important to work on the inner game, because you can only have on the outside what you're able to develop inside, whether it's energy of wealth, vibration of wealth and abundance. Because I personally remember when we just came to the United States and we didn't have a lot, I was so grateful for every little thing. So I already had this energy of abundance in me, even though I didn't have a lot. And then guess what? It was time in my life when I had a lot, you know, multiple six-figure salary and beautiful house and new car. But yet inside, I felt that, you know, I will lose it. It was a fear. I will lose it. I will be homeless. What if I lose my job? What if I lose my house? All this stuff was brewing in me. And guess what? That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So my point is, my message is, it's not what you have in the physical world, it's what you have inside that will eventually, your consciousness will eventually be out pictured in your experiences in your external world. And that's why it's so important to be aware of what's going on with you. You know, how grateful you are, how abundant you feel, because we always can choose what we focus on. We can focus on what is missing in our life, all the mistakes and losses and failures. Like I was so focused on failures when I was going through my challenging time. But now I choose to focus on my progress. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying as much as I can to focus on the progress. So.
I think that was one of the best descriptions I've and putting into context one of the things that I talk about a lot, which is about understanding the impact of what you do. And you just put that so beautifully, because you're saying, because I'm doing this, all of these other ripples are actually spreading out, and that was just perfect, absolutely perfect. So tell me, well, tell everybody, you know, how they can tap into this amazing expertise that you have, because you've got a number of different ways that people can connect with you and follow you and find out more about what you do.
Yes, sure. And I like to offer opportunities to people at different budget level. So if you want to start with just the minimum investment, it would be probably my books. You can find them on Amazon. The first book called A Shift Toward Purpose, Secrets to an Amazing Career. The second book is A Shift Toward Abundance, Secrets to Financial Freedom. They're not overwhelming. They're fairly small, very easy to read books. I wrote them for busy women. That was my goal. So they're not overwhelming at all. So, but if you want to work with me, I have different programs that I offer. As a matter of fact, not only programs, I have an event coming up in September 7th through 9th in Provence, south of France, where you will be able to work with me, you know, in person over 3 days. That's going to be a really amazing experience, because usually it's like online, you know, virtual experience. but I believe that in person we can just achieve so much more. It's a very private event. It would be only maximum 6 women in this event, and you know, we're gonna have training and meditation and yoga, and all the fun and lunches would be at my villa. I have a villa in south of France, so everything will take place there. And you know, I provide information where people can stay nearby, so we could you could easily access the place where the training will take place. So that's the event. It's called Activate Your Power to Prosper, because I believe you have it, right? So activate your power to prosper. And then after this event, I also plan to offer my signature program. It's a 4 months online program with live coaching every week. It's called Lasting Wealth Academy. It's 4 weeks with daily modules, daily coaching sessions. And this program is based on the Millen-aire Method. So we cover 4 dimensions that I mentioned at the beginning: wealth mindset, savvy money management, strategic investing, and leveraging the universal, what I call living magic. So that's what I would like to share with your followers, and I will share with you the links so they could click on them. And my website called daretochange.life.com, daretochange.life.com. And if you're not happy with where you are right now in your life, I challenge you to dare and change your life.
Brilliant. And also, just because I know, because I'm in there, if people are on Facebook and they would like to come and join your Facebook group, I'm sure you would be delighted to welcome them into that as well. So that's called Wealth, remind me, I'm in so many groups,
yeah.
Wealth Building
for Powerful Women.
Yes.
Make your money work for you, and it's in Facebook group. So Wealth Building for Powerful Women. Thank you, Polly, for reminding me. I forgot.
That's all right. No, it's a pleasure
to mention and to offer. And as you can see, I'm so powerful. I feel like I'm just jumping every time I have opportunity to share, because you know, on a serious note, I come across so many women who suffer, and I feel that it's not necessary. It's not necessary. And when you know that you have this ability to help them and to elevate their beautiful lives that maybe they don't see as beautiful at this moment, you know, it just it energizes me, drives me. And you know, I probably would never be retired, just because, you know, I kind of like retired before, and then I decided, no, I cannot. So I'm back and working like crazy, because I feel that there is such an important message that I have to share with the world.
No, that's so, that's so inspiring. And I have to tell you, I mean, there have been some absolute gems that you spoke about in this conversation, and it's just like made me just go, yes, yes, yes. And so, I mean, I would really encourage people, if money is one of those things, or not just money, but wealth, and aspiration as well is something that you're struggling with, that you feel so there's something blocking you with, then I would absolutely 100% encourage you to come and connect with Millen, because it's such a nuanced area, and I know that you are so skilled at helping people deal with those nuances, but also, as you said, giving them the technical information and the confidence to actually take action and see progress in their lives, so that they can build their confidence through action as well as through the inner work. So definitely go follow up on the links. All the links will be underneath the video, so please do go and catch up with Millen. And thank you so much. I mean, it's just, honestly, it's been amazing, a really inspiring interview. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula. I'm so blessed to know you, and so pleased that you chose to invite me to be your guest today. And thank you, everybody who took time out of your busy lives to watch us, to listen to this interview. And I hope that it was you found a few takeaways from this conversation. Thank you so much, Polly.
Well,
Appreciate
I think we're the ones who've been blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.